Sophia Loren, now 91, is finally opening up about George Peppard, and her story hits deep once you understand where she came from. Born on September 20th, 1934 in Rome, Sophia grew up in a world torn apart by war. She ran for safety during air raids and lived through days when even finding a piece of bread was a struggle. Her early life wasn't glamorous, it was harsh, real, and full of moments that could have broken anyone. But through it all, Sophia carried a spark, that rare mix of beauty, determination, and streetwise grit that made people notice her wherever she went. As a young girl, she'd stare beyond the cracked walls of post-war Italy, dreaming of a life far bigger than what she saw. That toughness, built through survival and struggle, became the foundation of her rise to movie royalty. Her first big break came at just 15 when she entered a local beauty contest and instantly caught the attention of film producer Carlo Ponti. That meeting flipped her world upside down. Ponti didn't just see a pretty face, he saw intelligence, charm, and natural star power that couldn't be faked. With his guidance, Sophia began landing small movie roles, slowly transforming from a shy, hungry teenager into a confident woman who lit up every scene she was in. Their working relationship soon grew into something deeper, a powerful love that faced every challenge imaginable: legal hurdles, harsh public judgment, and endless people trying to keep them apart. But they stood strong through it all and built a marriage that lasted over 50 years, a bond that proved unstoppable. Sophia stayed devoted to Carlo Ponti until his passing in 2007, a love story that truly stood the test of time. By then, she wasn't just famous, she was a full-blown international icon. Her rise through the 1950s was nothing short of explosive, with hits like Aida, 1953, and The Gold of Naples, 1954, where audiences couldn't get enough of her raw energy and fearless presence. People didn't just watch Sophia, they were captivated by every move she made, the way she carried herself, the way she could speak volumes without saying a word. It was magic. When she finally made her entrance into Hollywood, her career skyrocketed to a whole new level. She starred alongside legends like Cary Grant, Frank Sinatra, Clark Gable, and Marcello Mastroianni, bringing a rare blend of grace, humor, and realness that no one could match. Then came the role that completely rewrote movie history, La Chiocciara, 1961, directed by Vittorio De Sica. Her performance as a mother struggling to protect her child during wartime was so powerful it left audiences around the world speechless. That role earned her the Academy Award, making her the first actor ever to win an Oscar for a performance in a foreign language film. What a groundbreaking moment. Through the 1960s and 1970s, Sophia kept owning the big screen, both in Europe and America. She delivered unforgettable performances in films like Marriage Italian Style, Yesterday, Today, and Tomorrow, Arabesque, and The Millionaires, and her chemistry with Marcello Mastroianni, absolutely electric. Sophia always carried herself like true royalty, yet she spoke with the honesty of someone who never forgot her roots. That rare mix of dignity, charm, and unshakable authenticity made her shine in an industry obsessed with appearances. Even as the years rolled on, she never slowed down, always working, always inspiring new generations with her passion, resilience, and love for storytelling. No matter how much time passed, Sophia never let age dull her spark, not for a single moment. Her later performances, especially in 2009 and The Life Ahead 2020, proved that her skill, emotion, and intensity were still unmatched. In The Life Ahead, directed by her son Eduardo Ponti, she took on the role of Madame Rosa, a survivor who devotes her life to caring for vulnerable children. The way Sophia balanced strength with deep tenderness left audiences in awe. It was a masterclass in emotion, showing the world she still had that same unforgettable magic on screen. Her performance hit straight to the heart, a reminder of why her name still carries so much weight even after decades in the spotlight. But then came September 24, 2023, a day that had the world holding its breath. News spread that Sophia Loren had suffered a serious fall at her home in Switzerland, and fans everywhere were instantly worried. The beloved icon, known for her grace, resilience, and timeless energy, had been taken to the hospital after sustaining hip and femur fractures. The news turned what seemed like a normal day into a shocking and emotional moment for her family and fans around the globe. Doctors acted fast, performing urgent surgery with a skilled team specializing in complex bone treatments, determined to help Sophia recover and protect her long-term mobility. Even in that tough moment, her strength reminded the world why she's always been known as a fighter. Her personal and romantic story has always been deeply tied to the name Carlo Ponti Sr., the respected Italian film producer who not only shaped her career, but also her lifelong happiness. Their connection became one of the most iconic and enduring love stories in cinema history, a powerful mix of creativity, loyalty, and quiet defiance against a system that tried to keep them apart. Even with all the challenges thrown their way, Sophia and Carlo stayed loyal to each other, no matter what anyone said. In 1957, they tried to marry by proxy in Mexico, with lawyers standing in for them, but that move set off a huge public controversy back in Italy, where the marriage wasn't legally accepted. The situation caused such a stir that the marriage was officially annulled in 1962 to prevent further legal trouble. But instead of tearing them apart, that setback only made their bond stronger. They refused to let outside judgment define them. Sophia and Carlo kept standing together, tuning out the critics and focusing on what truly mattered: their connection and shared dreams. Their patience eventually paid off in the most dramatic way. In 1966, Carlo Ponti became a French citizen, which finally allowed him to legally end his first marriage. That same year, he and Sophia married again, this time officially and without any of the barriers that had haunted them for years. Their second wedding in Paris marked a brand new beginning, a clean slate for two people who had fought for their happiness with grace and loyalty. Their love story became a symbol of endurance, faith, and devotion that stood the test of time. As both partners in life and in art, Carlo went on to produce several of Sophia's most acclaimed films, including Two Women, 1960, the movie that earned her the Academy Award for Best Actress, and Marriage Italian Style, 1964, both directed by Vittorio De Sica. Together, they built a cinematic empire that represented Italian style, charm, and fearless creativity. Their marriage, lasting more than 4 decades, stood strong in an industry known for fleeting romances. Sophia and Carlo built something rare, a true partnership founded on loyalty, teamwork, and shared ambition. Together, they raised 2 sons, Carlo Jr., who went on to become an accomplished orchestra conductor, and Eduardo, who followed in his parents' artistic footsteps as a talented filmmaker. Sophia often called Carlo the great love of her life, the one who believed in her before the rest of the world did. When she was still a teenager searching for her path, he was the person who saw her potential and encouraged her to keep going. She credited him for giving her the confidence to take bold steps, for guiding her through the chaos of fame, and for helping her become not just a celebrated actress, but a grounded, respected woman known for her strength and grace. When Carlo Ponti passed away in 2007, the loss left an emptiness in Sophia's heart that nothing could replace. His passing marked the end
end of an era, both emotionally and professionally. But Sophia never stopped honoring his memory. Even now, she speaks of him with deep affection, calling him the guiding light behind her biggest achievements and the calm presence that kept her steady in a world that never stopped moving. She often looks back on the beautiful life they built, the endless talks, the shared dreams, the laughter, and that quiet bond that held them together through everything. Their love story remains a powerful example of how true connection can survive fame, distance, and time itself. Now at 91, Sophia Loren stands tall as one of the final icons from Hollywood's golden era, a living symbol of timeless beauty, sharp wit, and emotional depth that never fades. Through her incredible career, she's shared the screen with some of the most legendary leading men of all time. Yet one name she almost never spoke about until recently was George Peppard. Only in her later years has Sophia begun to open up about their dynamic, finally revealing what really went on behind the scenes. It was a professional relationship full of respect, tension, and moments no one could ever forget. George was a mystery to me, Loren admitted softly, her voice filled with both nostalgia and caution. He was handsome, talented, but there was something behind his eyes, something restless, something that always needed to prove itself. She recalled meeting Peppard in the early 1960s when both of them were at the height of their fame. Sophia had already taken the world by storm with unforgettable performances in Two Women, El Cid, and Yesterday, Today, and Tomorrow. At the same time, Peppard had become a Hollywood sensation after Breakfast at Tiffany's, turning him into one of the most talked-about leading men of his generation. She recalled meeting Peppard at a dinner in Los Angeles. He was quiet at first, almost distant, but when he finally spoke, his voice carried real authority. You could tell he was a man who'd fought hard to earn respect. She described him as having an old-school kind of masculinity, the type that could be charming, magnetic, and, at times, a little intense. Sophia instantly noticed the intensity George Peppard carried everywhere he went, that kind of energy that could light up a room or shift the mood in seconds. She said, he could be very charming, but he also carried this pride with him like a shield he never wanted to put down. She explained that his emotional armor made it hard for anyone to truly see the man behind it, the person he really was beyond the Hollywood spotlight. Their working relationship was built on mutual respect, but it definitely had its fiery moments. George was serious about every detail, Sophia recalled. He wanted perfection in every line, every gesture, every look. That kind of drive could make a scene unforgettable, but it could also make the atmosphere tense when things didn't go as planned. She laughed as she remembered one of their exchanges on set. Whenever he got frustrated, I'd tell him, "George, life is not a battlefield." He'd usually laugh it off, but Sophia could tell that deep down he didn't quite believe it. Her voice softened as she reflected on it, her laughter touched with a hint of sadness, as if she was remembering a man who struggled as much with himself as with the world around him. She wanted recognition, she said quietly, but sometimes he pushed people away. That was his contradiction. Sophia didn't shy away from addressing his reputation in Hollywood, the stories about his perfectionism, his stubborn streak, and how he could sometimes be difficult to work with. He had a fire inside him, she said, and that fire made him brilliant, but it also wore him down. George never played the Hollywood game, Sophia admitted. He wanted to be respected as an artist, not just seen as another handsome face. She smiled gently. I admired that about him. But in this business, sometimes you have to bend just a little, and George never wanted to bend. Her voice carried affection, not criticism, a tone that revealed genuine care. There was a kindness in him that most people never noticed, she said softly. Between takes, George could surprise everyone with how gentle and thoughtful he was. He loved deep talks, Sophia remembered. Books, politics, human nature. He wasn't shallow at all. He wanted to understand people, to question everything, to dig into what really made life tick. She paused, her tone turning thoughtful. Sometimes I think he was almost too intelligent, too analytical for Hollywood. She explained that George often felt trapped in a system that valued charm and illusion more than honesty and reflection. He had both depth and charisma, but he was never at ease with the make-believe side of fame. When she spoke about his later years, her words carried emotion. It hurt to see the industry slowly turn away from him, she said quietly. He deserved more recognition. She reflected for a moment, then added, there was a time he could have stood alongside legends like Brando or Newman. He had that level of talent, but life took him a different path. Sophia went on to describe how George's personal struggles seemed connected to that same restless fire that once made him so magnetic on screen. He wanted truth in everything, she said, her voice soft but steady. That hunger for honesty, it was both his gift and his burden. But truth can be heavy, and George carried that weight inside him for years. When Sophia was asked what she would say to George Peppard if he were still here today, she smiled softly, her eyes filled with warmth and nostalgia. I would tell him he was wonderful, she said. I would tell him he didn't need to fight so hard. His talent was already enough. She paused for a moment, the silence almost speaking louder than her words. When she finally continued, her voice softened to a whisper, as if sending a message through time. He was a good man, she said, even when he couldn't see it himself. Sophia Loren's reflections on George Peppard offer a rare, heartfelt glimpse into two stars shaped by the same demanding world, one that built legends but often broke spirits. Her words, filled with empathy and wisdom, reveal not just her admiration for him as an actor, but her deep understanding of the person behind the spotlight, a man whose strength and vulnerability lived side by side. He and I came from different worlds, she said gently, but I always understood him. Beneath the pride, beneath the struggle, there was a man who simply wanted to be loved. Sophia's honesty turned what could have been just another old Hollywood memory into something far more human, a reminder that even the brightest stars carry their own battles. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and if this story moved you, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more untold stories from the golden age of cinema.